friends, I'm the Dyslexic Cosplayer, and today it's time we take a look at Blake 7. Today we're going to be looking at episode 24, Gambit. You know, I believe it was the poet Robert Browning who said, "A man's reach should always exceed his grasp, or else what's a heaven for?" And this episode definitely proves that sometimes humility is the better part of valor. So, let's take a look. For the ease of the storytelling portion, I'm going to do the A-plot and B-plot separately in their entirety, just because they don't overlap, at all. But there's some really good bits in both that I do want to talk about, so we'll start with the A-plot. We're finally introduced to the mysterious Dockley, who's apparently picked up Travis as a bodyguard somewhere along the way. Why? Because Blake is not particularly subtle, so he knows that Blake is going to come looking for Dockley eventually, and this is the best way to get a chance to try and kill Blake. Dockley has taken refuge on Freedom City, another place just outside the Federation that apparently is even more insane and debaucherous than the last one, Space City, that we ran into back in Shadow. I really have to wonder why the Federation tolerates this stuff when there's supposed to be a fascist totalitarian dictatorship, but it works for the story. What I can't, however, tolerate are some of these costumes. I feel like they were just reaching into the closet at the BBC studios and pulling out whatever they had on hand because somebody wrote this script and didn't think about the costuming restraints that would be needed. And yes, I mean restraints, because I'm pretty sure they had to tie the actors down to force them into some of these costumes. It cannot have gone well for their professional career to have this on their resume. Freedom City is run by Governor Trantor, who has been approached by Servalon in hopes of finding Dockley dead or alive. Trantor's not sure where to find Dockley, but is aware that Travis is being his bodyguard, so sends his major domo toys out to find Travis to hopefully find Dockley. Meanwhile, Travis is reassuring Dockley's friend that despite the fact that he seems like a ruthless, cold-blooded killer, well, he is, but he could take care of himself. Only moments later to be literally taken out by Trantor's goons with one punch. What sort of goons could Trantor possibly have on his team capable of taking this series' antagonist out like that? And frankly, this is kind of just convoluted to all hell and back. Servalon is aware that Trantor's planted a listening device on Travis, so uses the listening device to tell Trantor exactly what her plan is. To plant an explosive in Travis's robotic arm, so that when Dockley goes to repair it, it'll blow both Dockley and Travis up. Realizing how far Servalon's willing to go, Trantor redoubles his efforts to find Dockley. Meanwhile, Blake, Callie, and Jenna wander around. Well, it's supposed to be a street outside, I think, but it just looks like the car park at the BBC studio decorated with Christmas decorations, like tinsle and other shiny strandy bits. And I think in this moment, captured on film, we can see Grant Thomas realize that he wants out of this role. And after Servalon gives Travis the whole, "you could come back and work for me," to which he says, "I'd rather be dead," this is literally contradicted by the next episode. At any rate, Travis goes back to try and find Dockley to get his arm fixed. Meanwhile, Dockley's bartender girlfriend sees that the walls are closing in for him and encourages Dockley to run, leading to an exposition-heavy three-way standoff between Dockley, Travis, and Blake. The explosive does not go off, thus violating the Chekhov's gun rule, and Blake lets Travis get away again because he's never seen Wrath of Khan, and Dockley gives Blake the exposition he needs to find the next part of this multi-part saga, and Dockley goes off on the run, leaving his girlfriend behind. And so literally the only thing that Servalon's appearance here does is give Jacqueline Pierce a chance to show off her amazing acting talent. In the B-plot, Avon and Villa gripe about Blake leaving them behind.
They say it's wide open.
What is?
Freedom City.
Space City pales by comparison, they say.
You know, if it was a desert down there, so hot your eyeballs frizzle, poisonous snakes under every rock,
Blake would have sent us.
you can bet on it.
So the two of them decide to cheat at the casino by using Aurak. However, Aurak's too big for them to take with them, so they convince Aurak to alter his molecular structure and remove as many of the unnecessary atoms as possible so that he can shrink down to 1/8 of his size. We learn the house favorite game is high-stakes speed chess, played against the Clute. If you win, you get access to the nearly infinite house pot, but if you lose to the Clute, he proceeds to devour as much of the set as humanly possible before you're blown up. Avon and Villa agree the stakes are a little too high even for them and stick to something simpler like roulette. Wherein supposedly Avon, Aurak, and Villa work together to break the house computer so that they can keep winning at roulette, I'm more inclined to think it's because he's playing against Columbia from Rocky Horror Picture Show, Dracula, Mother Teresa, and Blackbeard. After having won enough money to threaten to bankrupt the casino, Toist warns Trantor about the state of affairs. While a win is good for the casino, bankruptcy is not so good. So Trantor gets Villa sufficiently drunk to convince him to play super explosive speed chess for double what he's already won, plus the house pot. Though he realizes they're cheating, he hasn't figured out how they're cheating, so they're able to use Aurak's super quantum computing to beat the Clute at chess, thus utterly bankrupting the casino, the one thing they were trying to avoid happening. And Villa and Avon are able to teleport back aboard the ship with all their winnings just before Blake returns with the information they need to lead into our next episode. And Blake is none the wiser. Okay, so let's talk about some of the things from the episode I did enjoy. This is just a little thing, but I really enjoyed the fact that anytime we have to use a photo of one of the actors in universe, we just end up defaulting to what is clearly their headshots. Silly, I know, but it still just makes me smile. I think with a little bit more work, Freedom City could have actually worked as a piece of natural world building as good as the cantina scene from the original Star Wars. It's just they didn't quite have a unified vision to pull that together, it looks like. And once again, any episode featuring Jacqueline Pierce as Servalon is instantly a better episode than one without her. Unfortunately, I think that's pretty much the end of all the good things I have to say. Buckle up, kids. It's about to get rough. Oh, Trantor, 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 you poor, poor baby doll. I think that as a one-off villain, he probably would have worked just fine with some slightly better writing, but this is all I can hear when I see this clip.
Ties. Are you sure that headgear is part of the uniform?
It is of the period, Grantor.
It looks a little heavy.
Sachet away.
I'm not sure what the intention of the creators were with this character, but he's just so well written, shall we say. True, the fact that he's able to be almost an intellectual match for Servalon, even outwitting her at times. And while being a queer-coded villain never descends into hysteria or any of the other trappings of less subtle villains that can be found at this time period. I'm glad he was included in this piece, but definitely the character could do with a rework if there's ever a remake of the series. BBC, you did it with Doctor Who, get on that. The other thing I find more interesting is the fact that Trantor has significantly more to do with the B-plot than he does with the A-plot. Also, this special effect. It's clear they were trying, but could not get the timing quite right. In other aspects of the B-plot we're talking about, the fact that Aurak can just shrink himself down this small is never brought up or used ever again as far as I know. The fact that Avon and Villa get outsmarted by the casino is not bad, but the fact that they have to use Aurak to cheat to win the game of speed chess, rather than it being Villa's own skills, I feel is a really big missed opportunity. Look, yes, I'm a shameless Avon fan, but my man Villa deserves better. The fact that Villa paid to have a Delta-grade intelligence score rather than what his actual IQ was would have been nice to reference and have shown off here. Also, we at the Dyslexic Cosplayer would like to state for the record that we do not believe in IQ scores. They are largely arbitrary systems of measurement based on outdated modes of thinking and have been scientifically debunked. Fight me. Now, look, I don't want to talk about the A-plot. It is so bloody convoluted and stupid, it's clear that somebody was spinning their wheels so hardcore, it's not even funny. Travis is utterly wasted in this particular piece, doing nothing to further the plot and nothing to further his own character, other than maybe showing the lengths he's willing to go to try and find Blake, but we kind of already had that established, and once you see where his character's going to end up by the end of the series, it's just dumb and makes no sense. And Dockley's sole role in this particular piece is to both say, your princess is in another castle, also, here's why your princess is in another castle. If I was inclined to be charitable, I would say that maybe his character shows how the Federation's actions affect those that are caught up in them, but again, not really enough there to justify even that. So I will attempt to summarize the exposition because it's important. Dockley, in addition to being a master engineer, was also a neuroscientist that wiped the brains of all of the engineers who worked on building Star 1. However, he realized that this was probably going to lead to him getting his own mind wiped, so Dockley and the last engineer who hadn't had his mind wiped made a deal. Dockley would copy a copy of this engineer's brain print with the knowledge of where to find Star 1. They would both have copies and would go their own separate ways. That way, if anything happened to one of them, they could turn over the copy of the brain print, and then Star 1 would be compromised. Dockley lost his copy, but knows vaguely where Blake can find the engineer with the copy of his own brain print to find Star 1. And yes, that entire stupid, convoluted plot is essential for explaining why we're facing space Vikings in the next episode. Spoilers, the next episode has space Vikings. By throwing out this script entirely, it does not contribute anything other than trying to stretch this season out to 13 episodes. I can't see any storyline here that needed to exist other than for the sake of dragging out the already drug out plot about Star 1 and the secrets of the Federation. I hope you found this review informative, entertaining, but above all, educational. At any rate, onward to episode 23, The Keeper. What can you expect? Well, space Vikings reenacting Hamlet, but badly. We get to see Servalon in nothing but fur, and the stupidest plot resolution to a convoluted fetch quest ever. I hope you'll all join me then. See you then, friends. Hey friends, I hope you enjoyed the review almost as much as I enjoyed making it. Now, if you would like to show your support, by all means leave the video a like, maybe a comment. If you want to go really crazy, try hitting that bell icon down below so you can stay informed of all my new content. As you can see, I'm coming out with a bunch of new videos. I'm also going to be hopefully doing more cosplay tutorials. If you'd like to show some more support in a more substantial way, try heading on over to my Patreon or my Facebook. Both will be links down below.